So the Madison event that we'll be racing in Tokyo is mental. It's kind of organized chaos. It looks worse from the outside, I'd say. From the inside, you kind of know what's happening. You know everybody, so you know how everyone's going to react. But it is mad. And especially leading up to the last qualification races, it was mental because everyone's trying to fight each other. Everyone's super tired from traveling everywhere. People are making mistakes all over the place. Normally a good few crashes. Normally you get 2 or 3 crashes a race, but that's what makes it exciting, I think. It's unpredictable. And the Omnium, which we also have in Tokyo, is a multi-event similar to heptathlon or something in athletics, where we do a scratch race, an elimination race, a tempo race, and a points race. And they're all relatively short, fast, hard, and it's just flat out pretty much the whole time. Our Olympic qualification process was challenging, complicated, and stressful. It seemed to be that we were constantly under pressure. Just before the qualification process started, we were actually winning the events that were qualifying us for the Olympics. And as soon as the process started, we were just suddenly just miles off the pace, and we couldn't really work out why. So we started behind basically from the very first event, and we were playing catch up the whole time. But we kept going, we kept pushing through it. And by the time it came to World Championships, we were still out, but we knew we had to beat Hong Kong, we had to beat Portugal by a certain number of places. And if we did that, we were more than likely going to qualify. And fortunately for us, the race just couldn't have gone more perfect, really. We had the best ride we've done all year. Hong Kong had a terrible ride, which was brilliant for us, and we just about beat Portugal as well. So I think the main feeling after the race was relief more than anything, because there's been so much build up over the last 2 years, especially as we had expectation on us to qualify kind of easily after performing so well before it all started. So yeah, there was relief, but then obviously a month later the quota came out and we weren't on it. So there was some kind of mix up with rules where if more than one team DNF, they all get the same points at the end of the race. But so America pulled out with 10 laps to go and Hong Kong pulled out with 150 laps to go, and they got put together in the same amount of points, which put them above us again. But off the official results, we're down as being a certain number of places ahead of them, and then they went back to the official results and eventually gave us our spot back for Tokyo. So it was a bit of a roller coaster is an understatement, I think, really. Yeah, it was like intense stress and disappointment, and just sort of like you have that anxiety if you don't know what's going to happen. You've told so many people that you've qualified, you've put it all over social media. But then again, a month later when we got the final word, it was a similar kind of feeling of that stress just like leaving you and you're happy again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's not done much for my heart. I think for me it was a relief. I was in the lockdown here in Spain was pretty strict, so I wasn't allowed to leave the house to exercise, or I was fortunate enough that I've got my dog here, so I could actually leave the house to go for a walk. But other than that, I couldn't ride the bike outside. So I was stuck to trying to train on the turbo trainer, but for that time here, it was close to 30 degrees. So trying to train on the turbo in 30-degree heat, and it was just kind of like a bit slightly panicked. And when we got the news that it was postponed, it was definitely a relief for us, because we'd had a really, really hard campaign and we'd had our 2-3 weeks off after the championships, but we needed more, really. Like, we traveled constantly for 2-3 years to make sure we're getting into the World Cups, getting into the World Championships, picking up Olympic points. And I think now I can definitely look back and say that it being postponed was definitely a huge benefit to us. So one of the biggest struggles here for me in lockdown was before the Olympics got postponed, I was trying to train, but I also had a ridiculous amount of spare time that I'm just not used to. And for that first few weeks, it was kind of nice to chill out and have the spare time to watch telly and sit on the couch. But if you're used to being really active and you're traveling and you're whatever, this suddenly was just, I had this energy that I couldn't use, and I was getting really tired all the time. And then my emotions were up and down, and I was getting annoyed about the Olympics, and then I was happy, and then I was just all over the place. So it kind of worked out in a way quite well for me, because I'd had an idea of setting up a business 4 or 5 years ago, one of my friends from school. And when we spoke about it again, when lockdown first started, we were like, hang on, we've got a perfect opportunity here. Didn't think we're going to be able to do this for a few years. We're trying to race in or train for the Olympics, qualify for the Olympics. And then suddenly I have this 9-10 hours of free time every day. And then for the next 6 weeks, once we decided we were going to do it, I had something to fill my time with, and it was something completely fresh as well. Like normally my spare time is filled with training, or I'm racing, or I'm stretching, or I'm in the gym, or it's always cycling related. Whereas having this extra or this other avenue to put some energy into, like really, really got me through that 6 weeks, when I know a lot of other people was really struggling with it. So I think if I was to offer any advice, if anyone was ever stuck in the same situation, is to just try and find another outlet away from what you're normally doing, because it really, really distracts you from the thing that you're missing. And it definitely helped me. The races we have coming up will be a kind of pressure of a different way. Now we don't have to qualify places, we don't have to qualify for the World Cups anymore. But however, we will be going up against our competitors for Tokyo for the first time since, it'll be over a year. So that's going to be a bit nerve-wracking, I'd say, because you don't know where anyone's going to be at. So we've seen teams at altitude camps, we've seen teams on training camps and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's going to be jumping into the unknown a little bit. And plus we still have obviously selection open for our team. We've qualified the spot, we've qualified the Madison spot and the Omnium spot, but we haven't had an official selection yet. So that's still on your mind too. You want to make sure you're in good shape and for all the camps and all the races coming up. But just the thought of racing again is exciting. Like Madison is mental, and you can't really experience that without racing. So I'm looking forward to it.